You're listening to the Following On Daily podcast. I'm Neil Manthorp alongside legend David Bumble Lloyd, Surrey head coach Gareth Batty and Abhishek Jhunjhunwala. So England have fought back in Rajkot on the second day of the third test, closing it on 207 for 2 in reply to India's 445, largely thanks to a stunning third test century from Ben Duckett. They trail by just 238, I say just 238 runs. The way England played on day two, that doesn't seem quite the daunting total that it might sound. We'll discuss penalty runs, 500 wickets for Ravichandran Ashwin, and also get reaction from both the England fast bowler Mark Wood and the aforementioned Ashwin. So plenty to come over the next 30 minutes or so. You're listening to Following On. Gareth Batty, what a breathtaking day. It was impossible to take your eyes off the action if you were lucky enough to watch it, and hopefully for our listeners to take your ears away from the action, because there were 172 runs scored in the final session. Ben Duckett was breathtaking, playing some outrageous shots, and we had so much more to talk about before that. The aforementioned penalty runs that India were guilty of conceding by running on the pitch. And of course 500 wickets for Ravichandran Ashwin. But I think Duckett is the headline for us on day two.
There won't be too many days that a bowler takes 500 test wickets and we have to talk about somebody else. I mean, the 100 that Ben Duckett scored today, I think is probably one of the best innings I've ever seen, if not right up there with the best. With the circumstance of England obviously batting second and India posting a formidable score of 445, but the way and the manner that he came out and played, he was almost ruthless in his intent. He was brave, and then once he had the Indian bowlers on the back foot, once he got the field spread, he was just systematically breaking them down. I think he was on about 40 when he hit one off, I think it was Bumrah, where he's hit one through backward point for 4, there's a sweeper at point, 3 balls later he hits it in front of point for 4, and you're kind of going, am I watching PlayStation here? This is ridiculous. He was playing with the fielders, he was playing with the bowlers, and he just did it quite nonchalantly but incredibly skillfully, incredibly brave. To play the reverse sweep after Pope had been adjudged LBW, and he's hit it over cover for 6, flat and hard. You're just watching in awe of it, going, everything in everybody else's body, every emotion is saying, just see it out a bit and play for root a little bit here and take it deep. No, he just kept playing, and I think that in itself is the thing to be applauded, to have the bravery, the presence of mind and the skill set to keep following it through over and over again for the 114 balls I think it was at the end. I mean, it's wow. There's not enough superlatives to describe how well he played.
Abhishek, there was a period of between about 20 and 45 where he literally attacked every ball. I mean, it looked like it would not be an exaggeration to say that would have been exhilarating in a T20 match.
But the best thing about his innings was there was no slogging. He was very calculative in the shots he's played. He's picked the right options. He played to his strength. He didn't try anything different. Reverse sweep, it's his shot. He loves slog sweep. He loves sweeping. And also, India didn't place the right fielders at times against him. They could have been a bit better with their field placement. Rohit, I think they allowed him to get lots of boundaries when he was sweeping a lot against Ashwin, Jadeja and Kuldeep. But for me, the foremost thing was his fitness. After fielding, after being out there for 135 odd overs, to come out there and play an innings like this is just unbelievable.
Let's just rewind to the start of the day. Gareth Batty. India resumed with Ravindra Jadeja at the crease, unbeaten on 110. They started at 326 for 5, and it was clear and obvious to all of us that batting time was as important as the runs. They scored another 119 for those last 5 wickets. Mark Wood finished with 4 for 114. But it was the old school cricket in many ways, old school test cricket, because the wicket is deteriorating and it is becoming more unpredictable, and India felt that the longer that they could bat, as well as the additional runs, could make a big difference. Well, if England score at this rate, then it's not going to make any difference at all.
Yeah, it was. you can see what they're trying to do. It was the tried and tested. It was the historical way of playing. And England soaked that up. They stayed strong. Joe Root was the man that got the breakthrough, and we were sort of on commentary saying, you know, early morning, it might just nibble a bit. Why we're not looking at Anderson and Wood? But there were two left-handers in. It was a plan. It was followed through. And then Root gets the wicket, caught and bowled, the massive wicket of Jadeja, the guy that could have held it all together and extended on that sort of situation that India have found themselves in. Then there's a bit of a tussle between Ashwin and Jewel, played really, really well. I think that partnership was plus 50, 60. But England just stayed in the scrap. They stayed in the fight. Any single little bit of hint of being able to sniff out a wicket or stay in the game, they did it. And I think it's just shown through that England are taking the positive option instead of sometimes the tried and tested, and the bravest thing to do in life is to do something different, but with a similar sort of outcome, I suppose. You know, England weren't trying to change the wheel with changing fields, etc. They were just trying to bowl lots of good balls in an area and sort of, we're keeping at you, we're going to keep at you, we're going to keep prodding you, we're going to keep prodding you, and we'll end up on top because you're the ones that are going to fade away and you're not going to extend on your position. And then as soon as we got a chance with the bat, it was ridiculous.
Dhruv Jurel, the wicketkeeper, on debut made 46 excellent runs, really looked the part, 2 4s and 3 6s. Ashwin himself made 37, and Jasprit Bumrah added to England's frustrations with 26. Rian Ahmed finished with 2 for 85, and as I said, Mark Wood 4 for 114. Let's talk about the penalty runs, both of you. Yesterday, India, there were 4 batsmen who were warned, either unofficially or officially, for running on the pitch. And then it was R. Ashwin, who was the straw that broke the umpire's back, and Joel Wilson signalled to the scorers 5 penalty runs. So England actually walked out to bat 5 without loss. I wonder whether that's an appropriate penalty, whether it was appropriate in this circumstance. It was a cumulative penalty. It wasn't like directed at Ashwin. It was because there had been successive Indian batsmen running up and down the pitch in order to obviously exacerbate spin later on. Was it appropriate in this occasion, and is it an appropriate penalty given the consequences? What if it earns you a wicket or two?
I think if you look at the severity of it and how severe it can become in the context of the game, 5 runs is nothing. A team would do it all day if they could. And even if you give 10 runs of it, really, if you can pick up 2 extra wickets by doing that, and if it's a penalty of 10 runs, I wouldn't care.
I think you need to look at both sides of it. And if it's a bowler that's running on the pitch, you warned, second one, you're gone. Yeah. You don't bowl again for that innings. Is the punishment severe enough from a batting side? Because exactly what you're saying, Ashwin. It's kind of, well, hang on a minute, 5 runs, who cares? 5 runs is not going to win or lose this test match, but 2 wickets will. So India then with 445. I wonder, given that they had the opportunity to close out both of the first 2 test matches in Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam, to completely take the game away from England, if there is such a thing anymore in the new England era. I just wonder whether Rohit, who was quite frustrated, wasn't he, on the first day? He was frustrated about the run out of Sarfaraz Khan, and I wonder on this occasion whether he thought it was another opportunity to go past 500 that had been missed, or would he have been satisfied with 445? He looked quite satisfied.
I think 445 he would have taken it. If you have given him 445 at the toss, he would have probably taken it. But again, what he did along with Jadeja, the shot he played and got out, he would be a bit disappointed. Again, the run out of Sarfaraz Khan. If you get 550 here, England are a lot behind, aren't they? But at the moment, the way England batted, they're only 230 runs away, and if they keep batting the way they have today and they start in the same fashion tomorrow, they could be there by lunch.
They could. Okay, before we carry on, let's hear from the one of the 2 men of the day, R. Ashwin, talking about reaching that coveted milestone, just the 9th man to take 500 wickets in tests.
Look, I mean, it's been quite a long journey. Firstly, I'd like to dedicate the 500th wicket to my father. He's been through the thick and thin of everything that I've done in my life. He's lived it through. He's had heart attacks every time I've played. I think I mean, I think his health has gone for a toss because he's actually watched games of mine on TV constantly and been a constant support for me. I'm sure he'll be very, very happy today. But yeah, 500 wickets, done and dusted now. I think we've got a game hanging in the balance now.
Long time back, one guy who reached 300 wickets, he was the first one to do that, said that whoever breaks my record is going to be a tired bowler. You've got 200 more. Are you tired? How has the journey been?
No, not really. I mean, it's pretty fresh. The way England are playing, you're not having to bowl a lot of overs, honestly. They're showing a lot of intent, playing like how they would play every over in a T20 game or probably a one-day game. Giving less time for us to think and also less labour. Have to bowl good balls and expect one of those airy-fairy shots to go to hand.
Okay, and I know this is a moment for you. 500 wickets is a big moment, but we have to talk about this new approach and how you've had to react. We are watching your celebrations, the 500 wicket. So well done on that. But Ravichandran Ashwin has bowled over the years. This is something new, right? You've never seen this before.
Look, I think pretty much the surfaces we played on this test series has enabled the batters to have a reasonable amount of time in the first 3-4 days. I expect this pitch getting really tough to bat probably day 5, but having said that, we just need to hang in there and wheel away and try and, exercise best disciplines like you would in Test cricket. Because England has found themselves in such situations before in the series, and we found a way to claw ourselves back into the match. So I think, like I said, the game is hanging in the balance. Good spell, probably some things going our way tomorrow morning, and we could right away start dominating the game once again. But as I said, the game is going neck and neck. We'll have to bat, we'll have to bowl well and stay in the game. Like I said, they're putting you under pressure, but it's important to not react to that pressure and respond very well.
That was R. Ashwin talking to Sanjay Manjrekar. Really interesting. Quick comment from both of you on what he had to say there. But it was interesting to me that in Visakhapatnam, England needed 399 in the fourth innings, and Shubman Gill described it as 70-30 in our favour, with England needing 399 to win. Here, India are still leading by 238, and we've got Ravichandran Ashwin saying that the game is in the balance. Gareth Batty.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the England changing rooms hearing that, you're kind of going, okay, what we're doing is working. We have their senior spinner, their senior bowler, the guy that's just got 500 wickets, who should be jumping from the rooftops, singing how good a position it is, how good it is to get 500 wickets or whatever. Sort of putting a negative spin on what the match situation is. We know in India historically 230 runs you've got to work very hard to get after day 2. So I would have not maybe come out shooting quite as hard as what I said, shouting from the rooftops that we're in position A, but they must be thinking that in the change room. They have to be thinking that, or else England are going to get level and go past them. Playing the way they've been playing, you have to go toe to toe, and you have to sort of hang in there in that positive mindset that we've got these runs, we know how hard it is to get them, and you're going to have to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to have to work hard.
England aren't halfway. I mean, they've batted magnificently and they've been entertaining and exhilarating, in fact, but they're not halfway. I would have expected Ashwin to say, well, a couple of quick wickets tomorrow morning and we'll put them under pressure, and we're hoping for a big lead.
I think that's what they must be thinking. But at the same time, you can see the amount of respect they have. The brand of cricket England is playing definitely working, and it's definitely working to put a lot of pressure on not just the whole team, it's just especially the spinners. They don't know how to react to it. When I see a Jadeja and Ashwin at the moment, the way Ben Duckett is batted, they're trying to find an answer how to react to it. And hopefully they'll find it tomorrow morning. Otherwise, this game can actually get away from India very, very quickly.
And I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of watchers and listeners who'll be cancelling plans if they had any for Saturday morning in order to watch and listen to day 3. Mark Wood finished with 4 for 114, and he was chatting after the day's play to our man on the ground, Cameron Ponsonby.
Mark Wood, lovely to see you again. How happy are England with that day?
Very happy. I think the way we've ended it, it's we're coming off the pitch on a high there. Ben Duckett's played unbelievable. Great to watch that. Even as a bowler, I got your feet up watching that. Amazing the way that he took on a quality attack. And at times they looked like they didn't know what to do to him. He's hit it all parts of the field. And I think early on, when we were bowling, there was times in the game where we didn't feel like they went anywhere. There was a lot of I guess slow play and not many shots, which, you know, when you feel like the game's not going somewhere and then all of a sudden you get a wicket. But I felt all the way through it was hard going. You know, we had to work really hard for our wickets. It wasn't just blasting people out, like I said this morning. So pleased in the end with the day. I think I said this morning that we'd judge it when both teams have batted on it. So hopefully we've got a few more runs left in the shed yet.
Ben Duckett's innings, he's had a number of starts this series, but it was just phenomenal to watch. How pleased with the changing room for him to finally turn those 20s and 40s into a massive score?
I don't think the change room say like that, to be honest. I think in general we'll realise that the pressure that him and Zach put on the opposition up top, it's not just with the new ball. When the spinners come on, he sweeps so well, reverse sweeps. So all facets of play, whether it's fast ball or spin ball, and know that they're in for a challenge when Ducky comes to the wicket. So yeah, delighted for him that he's got that recognition of 100. But in terms of the dressing room, we're confident every time Ducky and Zach go out together that we're going to really put some pressure on the opposition.
I know you didn't play in that particular tour, but Duckett was out here in India in 2016, had troubles against Ashwin, for instance. How pleasing is it for him personally, and how much pride as a teammate do you take in his success coming back out here and scoring the runs the way he has?
Absolutely. I think it's credit to him that he puts in the work behind the scenes. Obviously he's a different player to what he was then. The confidence that the management give him to go out and play his natural game, I'm sure helps. And yeah, some of the shots I wish I could play like that, put it that way.
Perfect. And in terms of the pitch, I know India ran up and down it a little bit, but is it sticking together or is it starting to break up?
I think it's one of those where it's a good wicket. It's good to bat on, but there's every now and again there's one that spins or one that just nips off a crack, or is a bowler, a fast bowler. Some will, might keep low, one flies through. So there is that one ball that keeps you interested. So, like I say, it is hard work, but it's worth the toil if you get wickets in the end.
You finished, I think it was 2 balls short of the most you'd ever bowled in a test innings today. It was your first time back in the team after Hyderabad. How are you feeling? You finished with 4, happy with your work, feeling sore?
Yeah, bowling sore, I think that's part of the game. Jimmy got through a lot of overs as the 2 seamers there. And I think that's going to be, the challenge going forward. Can I then back it up this next innings? I give it everything I had this innings, and I'll be doing that again next one.
And just finally, on that 5 penalty runs, it was a bit of a novelty for everyone watching. It seemed like Ollie Pope and Joe Root in particular were hot on the fact that India's batters were encroaching on that danger area. As a bowler, did you have any sympathy for the batters, or was it something that England had spoken about, that we need to make sure these lads stay off that area?
No, I don't think anyone spoke about it. I was that hot and thinking about that much of my bowling and trying to get some, suck some air in, that I didn't even really notice it that much, to be honest. I was on the boundary, but obviously it's important. The batters, they're the ones that have got to try and score runs on that wicket. And if the people are running on the wicket, then that's not the rules. And I'm guilty as anybody as a bowler. I encroach on the wicket sometimes when I'm bowling, so it's important you try and stay off.
Perfect. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks, mate.
Well, if you're ever feeling down about anything in life, just listen to an interview with Mark Wood and that'll cheer you up. I love the way he refers to Ben Duckett being encouraged to play his natural game, but in so many ways it's such an unnatural game, Abhishek.
Yeah, it's very unnatural for me if I have to bat like that in Test cricket or in first-class cricket. But it makes it so much more exciting, doesn't it? We all want to watch this cricket. Everyone is vested in this series now. And if England can keep playing this brand of cricket, I think a lot of teams will follow.
Final thoughts then on the day and what's to come from you, Gareth Batty. There's no point pontificating or speculating about what England could or should try and do, because they've torn up the rule book, haven't they? I mean, do you think they'll be thinking, well, we get 550, we'll be 100 ahead. We could really put them under pressure. We could win this by an innings.
Yeah, why not? They're in that sort of place, aren't they? It's not arrogance. It's they're earning the right. It's I think some people speculate on what Bazball is. It's not what people are talking about. Maybe our side of the fence. I think the players are actually doing the good basic stuff just extremely well. But that is allowing them that little bit of margin to take the game on. And Ben Duckett today took the game on and some. But he's only doing what he's done in first-class cricket in periods and throughout his career. He's just doing it on the biggest stage and the hardest place to do it. And he's not the only player we've seen do that. Pretty much everybody, you go through the whole list, and everybody has done something that they've always done naturally. on the biggest stage, which is normally where we fear the most to express ourselves. And I think that's the beauty of where this England team is, and they're expressing themselves, and you can bet your life they're all shattered in there, because 130 odd overs is a long time in the dirt. But I tell you what, they'll be buzzing. They'll be thinking we're a red hot go to win this game of cricket.
Amazing stuff. And the bad news for India maybe is that Joe Root's probably due some runs, and he will resume tomorrow morning as well. He looked reasonably comfortable in the 13 balls that he faced, hit 1-4. He's 9 not out. But Ben Duckett, the story of the day, with 133 not out from just 118 balls, with 21 fours and 2 sixes. Match situation again then: India 445 all out, England 207 for 2. They are still trailing by 238 runs, but my goodness me, we're in for another crackerjack of a day on day 3. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage here on talkSPORT 2 and occasionally on talkSPORT as well. We look forward to your company once again just before 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, Saturday.